And it's Monday morning and I've just done my session with Caroline. Hi, Caroline.
Hi, Rachel. Some great stuff going on in your business right now.
Oh, and Caroline's my coach, so it's great to actually debrief with her, especially before the week is coming, and go through, some wins and also some areas for improvement. And I think it's so important to have a coach. And I say this all the time because you need multiple coaches throughout your life and your journey. And Caroline's been such a great one for me. Caroline, have you had a coach as well?
Yes, I have multiple coaches. I've just re-engaged my speaking coach this morning, actually.
Amazing.
Yeah, for my speaking work. I think it's so important and valuable to get insights from people that have been in different environments than you and also have mastered what you're trying to master.
So true. And actually, if I look at most successful people that I know, I don't think anyone hasn't had a coach. They all have multiple coaches.
Yeah, because we're always looking for varied perspectives and to learn and grow and be a lifelong learner and practitioner. I love it.
Good morning. It is Wednesday. I have just finished a podcast and I thought I'd jump on and talk to you about this topic because I feel it is not spoken about enough and it is super important. And I'm going to take you back to how I came across this particular person. Now, a couple of years ago, I was listening to Mind Valley podcast with Vishen, and he has had some incredible guests on there. And this one day he had an amazing feng shui master called Marie Diamond. Now, if you haven't heard of her, you're going to want to look her up. And in particular, a video called How to Design Your Space for Success. But it's basically about, so your home is a 3D vision board basically for manifestation. And what I got out of that when I was listening to Marie Diamond's story and all about feng shui, because I didn't really know much about feng shui at that stage, was that I knew about the law of attraction. So I knew that you had to change your thoughts and your feelings and align your actions to manifest. I knew that kind of idea. And I knew about The Secret. If you've heard about The Secret, it's such an incredible way to manifest. But a lot of The Secret, the theory behind that was all around thoughts, feelings, and changing actions. But Marie's version is quite different. And it's actually about the 3 areas in your life. So you come down with 3 areas of luck. You have your heavenly luck, which is your soul contract or your soul purpose of why you came down into this earth. And then you have your human luck, which is, again, comes back to your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. The things, if you can work on your mindset and improve it, that will help you become more successful. And many people sit in that space and they find ways to improve their success and their mindset, which is great. But then the third one, which is the game-changing one, and one that not many people talk about, is the earth luck or the environment that you're in. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And when I first heard Marie Diamond talk about this a couple of years ago, I realized straight away that my home office was not set up for success because I had my desk facing a wall, which is not a great idea. And I just had that in my head because I thought I could fit more space in the room if it was facing the wall, and that's kind of how you did it. But I didn't really think about any reasons why until I obviously heard Marie talk about this. And in actual fact, depending on when you're born, so if you think back to recently, I did the human design podcast as well, and that was really interesting about when you're born, you actually have almost like an energy number. And that energy number will actually tell you where your success corner is, where your health corner is, where your relationship corner is. And it's actually on a compass. So depending on when you're born will determine which way you should be facing to attract more success and abundance in your life. And so I'm a creator, which is an energy number 6. And the best corner for me is west. Okay, so I have the compass on this app, which I'm going to show you now, in the Marie Diamond app. This is a free app, by the way. And you can type in your birth date and your details, get your energy number, and find out your success corner. And then you can use your phone. So I'll show you actually what it looks like. I have this kind of compass, right? And on this compass, so this is mine, it shows relationship, success, wisdom, and health. And then there's all these dead spots, right, with nothing in it. So those directions are not great for me. So I need to make sure for me, when I'm looking at success, it's west. So you stand up, I'll show you this, stand up in the middle of the room. So I'm standing in the middle of my office and face over your heart, hold the compass over your heart and it will actually show you where your success is, which is ahead of me. So that is where I put any of the things that I'm manifesting. If I'm looking at any business deals, I'll put logos in that corner. But what I haven't been doing, and I'm going to start doing that now, is putting like my actual wins there. So my awards, anything like that in that corner as well, but also things that I want to attract. And that can be anything from a picture of someone you would like to meet through business. It could be a product that you want to develop. It could be a trip that you want to make. Anything that you want to manifest, you want that in your success corner. And it is such a powerful way to bring that all together, because one of the things about manifesting is that sometimes we write our goals down, but then we don't think about them anymore, put them away in a drawer, and then don't do anything about it. And that is when it really doesn't work fast enough. But when you do this and you put it into an area that's actually designed for your success, things will move into your orbit much quicker. But there's so many tips that you're going to learn. So anyway, that podcast is coming out in a few weeks. So please head on over, hit subscribe to Soul Wellness Podcast on Spotify, Apple, and listen to it, because Marie's amazing and I'm sure you're going to love it. And I'm still working on the Philippines project. So the Philippines team have been working on that, I should say. They've actually had a carpenter come out and measure some desks, because we're actually going to get things made to fit the space perfectly. We thought that would be the easiest way to do it. So I'll show you some of those renders or drawings when we get them back. That's interesting. And I've just been busy working on some new products. And one in particular, I thought I'd talk about using LinkedIn again to get buyers. So I've been hunting for a manufacturer, a company that we want to license something from. And I've reached out to them multiple times. I've sent so many emails. And then the other night, I got hold of one of the board members, and then she passed it on to the CEO. The CEO got hold of me, and now we are meeting this week. So that is how quick. I went months and months going the normal route of sending emails to the company, got nowhere. And then I do a message to a board member on LinkedIn, and within a week, I've got a meeting with the CEO. So that is the power of using LinkedIn to prospect and find different people that you need for your business. So that was just my useful tips as well. But I'll be back tomorrow to give you another update of what we're doing at SynxBody. Good afternoon. It is Thursday, and I am just about to jump into a very important meeting with someone from overseas about licensing their technology. So I thought I'd talk about that. There's a lot of reasons why you might want to license technology from someone else, and that could be because they have spent years, sometimes decades, developing their intellectual property, and it could be something that can save you so much time. So I thought I'd talk about it because, our journey to finding that technology comes with a lot of research. So you have to be really skilled in looking at different markets and looking and knowing how to read research papers. I think they're probably the two best skills. And you can't rely on AI because it's just not as advanced as it is, and it can analyze your own data that you found and give you insights. And you can do it, but I think you really need to be able to understand your market and also understand the research itself. Wish me luck. I'm just about to go do it, and I will report back and let you know how it all went. Good morning. So I thought I would update you on how my meeting went yesterday. And so I think overall it was really, really good. And I learned a lot from that experience of preparing, having all the data, and looking at some alternative options for us to grow and develop new brands. And I think this is a really important message for anybody who is developing a product. You don't always have to think from scratch. So as we know, developing a complete technology on your own can be extremely costly. And for a startup, sometimes it's just not viable. So definitely for companies that want to take those leaps and look at other options, I definitely think there is so much out there. So as I mentioned yesterday, definitely start with research. And my meeting was so amazing. They were impressed. I was impressed. And it turns out we actually had something in common from years prior as well. So we connected over another product. So even though they're in a complete different country to me, we had this commonality. And I think that's also important because I believe that we've been pushed in this direction for a reason. And I can't share more than that right now, but I will in time. So that's pretty much that. Now we've also made some progress. We've had the carpenters in, they've mapped out what the office is going to look like. We have this really cool meeting room. So now I'm going to sit down now and help sort of choose some of the materials and work with the Philippines team on that. And we've also had our new full-time content creator join us, Josip. So he'll be coming into the team meetings this week and joining our team. Like, we are growing so much, and it really warms my heart to see how this business started to how we're going now, and just how important leadership is in business and culture. And that was probably my biggest takeaway this week, is like how important culture is. And there is culture, even if there's only 1 or 2 people in a business, there is culture, because it starts from the beginning. And just hold that thought for one sec. Okay, so why do I think culture is so important? Now, culture really begins, if we're completely honest with ourselves, it begins with the founder. Okay, so depending on what the founder values and who they hire, and then what kind of attributes, I suppose, the people they hire come in, that creates this company culture. Now, I am really, really big on working with companies that have a similar culture to us. And when they don't, it is so evident that there's a misalignment. And I think that that can be very detrimental to a business. So I'm very, very big on culture, and even within my own team. So think like someone's well-being. So for me, like, one of my highest values is health and wellness. So that means the health and wellness of my staff is super important. If they are sick, I want them to stay home. Like, I want them to look after their bodies and their minds, and encourage them, you know, to just have definitely a strong work ethic, but also not to burn themselves into the ground, because then they're of value to nobody. And I think even if you're like an employee looking to work with a company, you want to make sure that they share those same cultural values that you do, the things that are important, the things that matter, because otherwise that's where you get misalignment and people aren't happy in a company. So I always make sure, if we're working with people, we are very aligned on that. And if we're not, that definitely is like a bit of a red flag that we need to kind of look into deeper. And we've definitely had some of that going on at SynxBody this week with some people that we work with. And I guess it's just, you've just got to be aware of it. And then you also have to stand your ground. So for me, it's super important to make sure that we let people know before they start working with us of our intentions like that, and who we are as a company, because I want it to align. And if you don't care enough about your staff, then they're not going to care enough about you. That's full disclosure. It is like, if you're growing that brand, you have to care about your people. So that's definitely one of our highest values at SynxBody. We care about them, we care about our staff, and we care about their wellness, their mindset, and their journey. So that's probably the biggest thoughts. Now, if I'm thinking back to this week, what is my biggest takeaway this week? So my biggest takeaway this week, actually, let's go back to health and wellness, because I've not been feeling well this week. And I thought I'd talk about that, because sometimes we have weeks where our health just isn't aligned for whatever reason. So I'll talk about what I've done this week for myself. I've definitely gone to the doctor. I've had just not been able to eat food without getting stomach pain. And I had a similar thing last year, and I was really unwell, and it went on for a couple of months and then eventually went away, which was amazing. But now it's back. So I've gone back, I've done blood tests with the doctor, and then I've also seen the physio, because I've had a sore shoulder and I've had pain going on there. And now I'm about to see the acupuncturist. So I definitely think if you're not feeling right, one of the biggest things that you have to do is focus on you first, because you can't lead, or you can't, be the best version of yourself when you're not 100%. So that kind of ties back to this, like the work culture, like that, slow down if you're not well, sort yourself out. So that's my message for today. If you've had any niggles or aches and pains or anything that's been troubling you, go see a health professional, sort it out, because these things just fester. And I'm about to head into 4 crazy weeks of travel. So next week I'm off to Melbourne. We've got the Chemist Warehouse event. We're meeting with Priceline. We're meeting with lots of different partners, our DCO partners in Victoria. Then we have the big Chemist Warehouse event. And then I'll fly home to Perth for a few days, and then I fly back to Sydney, where I've got Oasis, in Sydney, and that's more of a personal kind of couple of days in Sydney with my family. And then I'll fly back to Perth. Then it's to Auckland. We'll do the same. We'll see Chemist Warehouse New Zealand. Got lots of meetings over there. I meet with our partners and our reps. Then fly home, and then back to Sydney for a big secret announcement that's happening as well. Around Australia, and I can't say more than that, but I will at the end of the month, and I'm super pumped about it. And we've also got our sale, so our 3-day sale. So we're having 40% off for 3 days only, which is our biggest sale of the year. So if you haven't subscribed to SynxBody, head on over to synxbody.com, get on our email list, because our subscribers get early access to the sale, and it's while stocks last. But it's our biggest sale of the year, and I'm super pumped up to say it's been 14 years of building this company. So excited, and I'm so grateful to all of our customers. If you're listening or watching, I'm grateful for you. And if you're just on this business journey with us and just keen to learn more about business, thank you for you too. Your support means the world, and it would also mean the world to me if you hit subscribe at Rachel Ferguson and SynxBody so we can do more of this content for you.